Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and welcome to today's show. You guys, I'm so excited to have you here. I absolutely love podcasting. I can honestly not believe that we have created as many podcasts as we have, and thank you for being a part of this journey. So today, you guys, I wanted to just ask you that, are you struggling with cash flow leaks in your practice? I think this is such a big hot topic for you that I cannot wait to go into it because honestly, every dollar leaking out of your practice is a dollar not reinvested into your growth. So really, there's a couple quick cash flow leaks that I see in tons of practices that I wanted to share with you. These small little changes, tweaks are going to add up to exponential amounts of cash in your practice just by stopping these small few cash flow leaks. We did a webinar on this the other day and it was super, super popular. So I thought I'd bring a few of those highlights over here to the podcast. As always, you guys know we are the Dental A team, and our job is to help practices optimize profitability, increase their happiness and fulfillment, and truly make teams and doctors get on the same page to be able to live the best life that they possibly can. That's what we're about, you guys. Honest to goodness, I do know that cash flow is the lifeblood of a practice. And the way that we prevent these leaks and the way that we're able to grow our practices is by being great stewards over the businesses that we have. This is going to be a short, actionable podcast for you. You guys know I like tactical, practical, and I'm super happy you're here. If you're new to the show, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been an OG, which stands for Original Gangster, I used to think it was an oldie but goodie. I found out that that's not the case. If you're an OG, I'm so glad that you're here and that you've been on this journey with me. Please, as always, leave a review if it's helpful for you and make sure that you're sharing this with friends, because the reality is our goal is to positively impact the world in the greatest way possible. And the way we do that is through expert consulting for dentists and teams. So we are the Dr. Seuss of systems. We are the gurus of making practices truly be simple, living at profitable practice and making it simple. All right. Are you ready for these 3 simple tips? I hope you are. Number 1, I want you to, like I said, we just did this of how to stop these cash flow leaks. And what you want to do is you want to look at some numbers. So you want to look at the last 6 months production. You want to look at the last 6 months collections. And then you also want to do your collection percentage per month and also your collection percentage over the last 6 months. The reason it's important for this is some months will actually have a lower collection percentage. That's okay. So for example, a lot of practices in December only worked 2 weeks. And so then you have to think that money rolls 30 days. And when it rolls 30 days, then what's going to happen is we're going to collect that money. So if in December we only did 50,000, then in January we did 100,000. Well, I only have 50,000 over here to collect to then be able to go into my 100,000. Well, that's going to be low collections. But over the course of the year, we should be averaging a 98% collection amount. We also want to look at our patient AR, our insurance AR, our adjustments, claims not sent to insurance, procedures not attached to insurance, P&L revenue matching collections, because a lot of times maybe we're not collecting even though it looks like we're collecting. So making sure money in the bank actually matches the money that's coming into the practice, and then doing an overhead deep dive. Are there things that we could cut, subscriptions we no longer need, things that we've been paying for forever? It's just like in personal finance, right? Like when you go look and you're like, oh my gosh, we're paying for all these subscriptions. We're not even using half of them. That's a cash flow leak. So a lot of common causes of cash flow leaks are going to be unnecessary adjustments in your practice, claims and procedures not sent to insurance. Literally, this one report, I have literally brought 50,000 into a practice in one simple report. So it's a huge, huge zone to take a look at. Over-the-counter collections, maybe those aren't up. They're not high enough. And then not having a good claim follow-up, insufficient AR follow-up. So claims are one thing. We're sending out those statements. And the other side is that we're actually looking at our AR, following up on those claims, making sure that they're not having denials, resubmits, those types of things. High expenses, and then not producing enough to cover our expenses. So a lot of these things come in tandem. And so I just wanted to walk you through a quick 3 things to do. So number 1, I want you to really focus on tightening up that insurance and collections process. Like truly, how are we doing this? Because I brought in thousands of dollars to a practice. There was an office I consulted in Oregon. We were able to take them from producing about $100,000 to $150,000 by being in their practice one time. And in 30 days, they were up to that amount. People are like, Kiera, how did you do it? And I'm like, well, 1, we made the scheduling better and we presented full treatment. And 2, we were able to increase their collections simply by just collecting at the end of the appointment. And I know that sounds so like primary and so juvenile, but the reality is all of this is simple. It's very simple. And so I hope that you take this on and you realize that these are just simple things. So When we don't have a good insurance process and collection process, then what happens is we delay the money even further. Already with insurances, we're on a 30-day delay most of the time. You can actually be faster than that in practices. I have some offices that get paid in 2 weeks, but the reality is usually we're on a 30-day delay. So going back to our December example where we made 50,000, then we were produce 100,000, well, our collections are going to be down. But just think, what if we actually are even further delayed? Well, that's going to send it down further and further and further. I've seen offices where they're over 90, they have tons, and I'm talking millions sitting in their over 90. Well, that's very stressful because A, that's money that should be collected. You did the work. And B, if it gets too far out there, we actually can't collect from insurance. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're verifying the patient's insurance benefits before they come into the practice, make sure we have correct fee schedules attached so we're able to present correctly. Then we want to make sure we're submitting claims within 24 hours at the most. I either like them submitted at the end of the day or the next day. Make sure all of our attachments, all of our narratives, all of our intraorals, all of our x-rays are truly attached correctly. Clean claims out, clean claims in. We want to make sure that we're paid, and then make sure that we have an automated way to have our balances collected once we get the insurance there. So we want to be watching our insurance payments, and we also want to be watching our patient payments. So we want to collect a time of service. So whatever their patient portion is, I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that we collect at time of service. We're also watching for balances when patients are checking in, that we're actually collecting at that time as well. So when they check in, if there's a balance, we collect right then and there. Also, when we present treatment plans or when they're doing their treatment, we're collecting payment at that time as well. I understand they're not going to be perfect. I understand there's a lot of fear around this of, Kiera, what happens though if we misestimate? And I'm going to say you become an amazing word ninja. I would much rather you collect rather than chase money. I think all of us would rather get paid rather than chasing our paychecks down the street. Same thing with patients. Once they're gone, there's no longer a need for them to be paying for it. So I really, 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 really encourage you to do this. And then make sure that what we're doing is we're actually checking our insurance every single week. So we're checking and working those 30, 60, 90-day claims. We're making sure that we're working on the biggest balances first. And then we're able to then chip away at it and collect. Patient portions, go call them. Please, please, please stop sending statements. Call those patients right now, get them on the books, make sure we're getting them taken care of. That is one of the easiest ways to stop these cash flow leaks in your practice. So the goal is make sure great insurance verification is there, make sure we're submitting claims, and then make sure that we're actually speeding up our collection process by staying on top of it every single week, hitting those biggest balances. There's more in depth for it, but that's a quick highlight of what you can do. Step 2 is control our overhead and unnecessary expenses. So now we've talked about, we fixed the problem with hopefully collecting. We fixed the process of making sure that we're getting our payments faster. And now we need to make sure we're looking at our overhead and the expenses to see what on there is unnecessary. Like I said, all those subscriptions. I don't know how many times I see in real life, we're paying for Netflix, we're paying for Hulu, we're paying for Amazon Prime, we're paying for all these different ones, but we're actually only using 1 or 2 of them. Could we cut some of those out? It doesn't change our quality of life, but it does change our bank account. And small little things add up. I did a podcast on this of little areas where you can find this in your overhead expenses. But the reality is can you start to actually order your supplies through something like Synergy or Ordo, which are 2 great companies that are actually supply companies that do it in bulk to reduce, you're getting the exact same product, but you're able to actually reduce the cost. Why not do that? Just asking questions we're buying the same bread. Let's get it for half off or pay full price. I'm going to get it for half off. It's the same bread, same price, same quality, just different pricing because we're able to buy it through group pricing. So can we negotiate? Can we talk to our reps? Can we make sure? Also, can we set a supply budget for the person who's ordering? I like 4 to 5% for supplies. You take your pick for ordering dental supplies. So last month we collected 100,000, 4,000 or 5,000 would be our supply budget. Give that budget on Excel tracker to your ordering team member and have them deduct down, making sure they stay within budget. This way, they're able to then assess and make sure we really are spending the appropriate amount. This gets them scrappy. They start looking for better deals, but it cuts those overhead expenses that are unnecessary for you. Can we also look for better lab deals? I know we love our lab person, but maybe there's a new lab that's come onto the scene that's just as good, if not better, but maybe not as high of pricing as our current labs. I'm not here to say cut dentistry for 1 second. I'm just saying, kind of like car insurance, let's go look around and see. And I'm not saying that labs are equal. I understand that all labs are different, and we want to make sure we give our patients the highest quality. I'm just saying if you haven't looked for a while, Let's see if we could get a different way to have a different lab fee for us. Can we negotiate other areas within like our subscriptions, looking to see what can we cut, going line by line by line to see are there extra expenses in there. I know like I pay for Audible, but I switched over to Libby. Libby is great. I use a ton of it. I'm constantly on there. Do I still need my Audible expense on that, on the overhead? Do we still need to be paying for the subscription? Like I know for us, we have a lot of subscriptions, a lot of softwares. Is there a software that we could get a discounted rate? What about our credit card processing fees? Could we maybe switch over to a company like Moolah and maybe save on that? Honest to goodness, plug for Moolah. If you're looking at credit card processors or you're questioning Moolah, tell Mark from Moolah that we sent you over there. Clients who I've recommended to Moolah have loved it because they're cheaper, they're more affordable, their rates are incredible, there's no contract, they're able to get their membership plans on it, they're saving money. Even that 1 or 2% change on your credit card statement can radically increase the cash flow leaks in your practice. And then just like make sure that our payroll, like let's look at our human capital. I am not here to cut costs for payroll. I'm here to pay our team members insanely well, but let's make sure that can we reutilize our human capital? Could we maybe outsource certain things that we don't need in-house? What do we have? And let's just make sure that what we're doing and producing, we're adequately staffed, that we're adequately doing our jobs, and that if there's easier ways, like we've outsourced for certain jobs for virtual assistants. And I know a lot of offices have done that and it's been great. It's been amazing. We've been able to benefit from it. You have opinions about that. I'm not here to tell you one way or another. I am here to say maybe be open to the ideas around it just to see what can we do. And so my call to action on tip number 2 for controlling overhead and unnecessary expenses is go and do an expense audit and look to see what can we do to cut costs. Maybe there's nothing, but I promise you there's probably 1, 2, or 3 things that you could actually change or adjust. I do this every single quarter. So when the quarter ends, the CPA sends me over a detailed P&L, line by line by line. I'm looking at that to make sure that I'm actually staying in track. All right, step number 3 is I really want you to look at making sure that we're producing enough. So are we optimizing our schedule and are we producing enough? Because a lot of times cash flow leaks come from the insurance and the collections and the overhead, but maybe we need to also look at our scheduling to make sure we're productive on there. And we're also making sure that we're producing enough for our expenses. So what I like and what I prefer is 50% for expenses is what your overhead should be, not including doctors. So if we're producing 100,000, 50,000 should be our expenses. So trying to just get that into line for you. So now if I know my costs are 80,000, we'll just double that. We should be producing 160,000. So that's very loose math. Don't worry with our clients. I do this a lot more in depth. Not always can we get to 50% in all states, but generally speaking, we're able to get there by doing a lot of these pieces. So now I'm going to look at your schedule and see if we need to produce 160,000, A, do we have enough spots for new patients? B, do we have block scheduling in place to make sure that with the new patients, with the SRPs, with the perio maintenance, we're then able to produce what we need to produce for what we actually need to pay our practice. So if we need to produce 160,000, well, do we have enough blocks in there? And we figured out the puzzle pieces to make sure that we're actually able to produce that amount. And then when we do have cancellations or different things in there, that we're filling the schedule, that we're doing the 15-minute quick fill, that we're looking for little ways to optimize our schedule, because a lot of times practices don't hit their overhead that they want to hit, not because they don't have the space in their schedule, but because they have so many open spaces. So what's your open time in your schedule? Let's look at that. Could we reduce that down? What are some different areas that we could really make this easier for you? And then making sure that we're actually hitting our goals consistently and we're working as a team for that. So the reality is I have a lot of practices who do these things, not a lot, all of them. So as consultants, we're looking at what is your block schedule? How many new patients do we need to have? How much can we optimize this? Let's look at your overhead month over month. Let's look at your collection percentages year over year. Let's make sure that we are actually collecting the amount that we need to. Let's look at the different items within. Let's track your KPIs monthly with you and look at all these expenses. I was on a call the other day and the doctor, we were like, gosh, our overhead's high. And we were spending a lot on marketing. We were spending a lot on supplies. And so making these small little tweaks and changes are how we find the cash flow leaks. And I know you want this to be like, ding, a little fairy godmother over here. Yes, I can do that as we're a one-on-one private consultant for you. But listening to the podcast, I want to encourage you to take these 3 steps on and to truly go and look at how is our collection process and what are we doing? Then I want you to look at your overhead and unnecessary expenses and then do an audit of your schedule to see, hey, what adjustments could we make to make this actually be better? So these are some of the quick hits for you on the cash flow leaks that I know really can help you out and can grow your practice exponentially. This is what I'm passionate about, if you can't tell. I love helping offices learn how to stop the cash flow leaks, to be able to produce what they want to produce and be able to provide the lifestyle that they want for themselves and for their team members. And it's through like little things like this. Consulting's nothing crazy or sexy. The changes that we make in practices are usually so simple, but the simple things are not always easy. And so making sure you have an accountability buddy, someone who's going to check in with you, someone who's going to make sure you're doing this consistently, because consistency is key when it comes to these cash flow and overhead leaks. I'm so excited for you guys to try this. So if you want some help uncovering some cash flow leaks in your practice, just DM me or even go to our website, thedentally.team.com. We actually do a free practice assessment for offices where we look through to see what areas can we help you optimize your practice. So if that resonates with you, I'd love to chat with you. But truly, you deserve to have the financial strength and the financial guidance that you truly want and deserve. And the reality is we're here for you. Dentally Team is here for you. We love and adore you. And I know that everything that you want, that you are like truly hoping to achieve, is going to be capable for you. So as always, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the Dentally Team podcast.